Good morning, friends. Thanks for being here this morning with Journey Home Meditation for the morning sit. I am Michael, and I'm happy to be here today to share these practices with you. You know, with the social media influence, I think Facebook has been quite brilliant in creating the most Velcro-like attachments to our culture. And when I say our culture, I mean more of the shared dominant culture, or maybe instead of the dominant, I could say the prevalent culture. I'm not speaking towards the cultures that we have necessarily in our own communities, our own homes, family structures, but anyway, Facebook is this ubiquitous thing, and one of the features, of course, is the memories feature. And I gotta say, I mostly use Facebook these days just to share Journey Home meditation practices and get the word out about what's happening here at Journey Home Support Services, and to share the occasional Theo Von clip. But I do get sucked into these memories because it's an interesting thing to witness oneself. There's a difference between the past and history. We relegate things to the past, meaning that that's something that is no longer, that was in the past. That happened in the past. But when we understand history, we understand that we are made up of history. We are an accumulation of history, right? And we can easily forget, especially when we start confronting ideas about living in the moment, right? Be here now, all these ideas, these teachings, we can start to think that precludes us from having a history, that precludes us from recognizing the past, or that doesn't allow us to think about our future. And that's just simply not the case in my experience. Being present now is an awareness and recognition of everything that I am made from. And it is an awareness and a recognition of everything that I do now has an effect moving forward. And so to be present now means to be present with that truth. To be present now means to be present with the recognition that not all of us have the same histories. Not all of us have the same experiences. Not all of us have the same concepts, ideas, and memories of the past and the things that we carry with us into this moment. And I think that's really important for me to remember, because I live a lot of my life today informed by my past and with my history, right? As a recovery peer support, I am always being reintroduced to these experiences that I hold of my former selves, these ways of being, these places where I was stuck at times, these places where I had an enormous amount of growth, these places where I had an enormous amount of pain. And these places inform me still today. And I am transforming my understanding of who I was then, now, by living in this moment today and recognizing the ways in which something has changed within me. And sometimes we even say something has changed me. And, you know, I once heard a comedian, Cat Williams, very talented comedian, hilarious, maybe a bit duplicitous so, as a character, but I don't know him. But at any rate, he was being interviewed, and the person asked the question, "What's the worst advice you were ever given?" And just without missing a moment, he just said, "Don't ever change. Don't ever change is the worst advice that you could be given." And in the work that I do with grief, I think about this often because that is one of the most fundamentally important and beautiful things about grief is that it is changing you, right? It does change you. Loss changes you. Um, Traumatic experiences change you, and this isn't a bad thing. And it sometimes it can feel very bad. Sometimes it can be so challenging, and the loss can be such that we begin to get stuck in places in our mind where we just want it to be what it was, right? We just want to go back to before this thing. And so the Facebook memories thing comes up now. And oftentimes I've had a lot of experience with death of friends and family and loved ones. And so oftentimes a memory, I'll just, get onto my Facebook before I start this program to make sure everything's going to broadcast okay. And I'll see the memories and I always click on it. And sometimes I'll see faces and posts with people that are no longer here in body. And that gives me a moment to feel my sadness, to a moment to remember my joy. It gives me a moment to spend in the presence now with that person, not living in the past with what was, but being with what is now, how I have been changed and transformed by my experience of this being today. And then there are other memories. And right now, March 13th, 4 years ago, was when a lot of the country and a lot of the world started really becoming aware of what ended up becoming the global pandemic of COVID-19. And wherever you stand in your beliefs surrounding that pandemic, it is completely irresponsible to deny that this had a drastic effect on all of us, a big force of change. And I don't know if culturally we have even begun to touch on the effect that the last 4 years have had on our relationships, on the way we communicate to one another, on the way that we receive one another, on the way that we choose to engage with empathy or not with one another, all of this has been so drastically changed, transformed. And this is happening all the time, right? Change and transformation that's part of being alive. But I think that we can recognize that there are times and events and places that have a such a widespread effect that it transforms the culture, not just in the moment, but for years and maybe generations to come. And I was thinking about that this morning as I saw the first posts in 2020 regarding what was to come and where I am now in my ability to be with others or not, and where I was then. And I'm just so grateful in this moment today for the ability to remember our history and remember our past, but not hold on to it in a way that I sit with resentments or with a warning to cast to others, but in a way that says, look at where we've come. We're we're going through this right now. We're still going through this. It is not the past as in something relegated to a time before now. It is our history, as in the thing that makes us who we are in a lot of ways. And it's not the entirety of who we are, and it's not the entirety of our history. But I just want to give a moment of reverent honor to this force of cataclysmic change. I don't know of anything that could be so effective as this has been on such a large, widespread number of people. Wars, um, natural disasters, climate change disasters, all of these things, yes, they are happening. The fentanyl crisis, yes, the AIDS crisis, yes. These were bombs that went off within cultures and within communities. And it's not about contrasting or comparing, but I do recognize that this global pandemic that we've come through, wherever you stand on it, wherever you believe, I'm just wanting to recognize the effect that it's had. And I don't know why. I don't know why I want to recognize that, but I do. And when that came into my feed this morning, it sent this chill of awakening through me to remembrance. Like, oh, yeah, look at that. That was the time before the transformations. And so much has happened in these 4 years for so many of us. So much loss, so many gains, so many new perspectives, so much introspection. Um, yeah, I just want to honor that today. What a time. All right, friends. Well, thanks for being here this morning. I think maybe let's do a little bit of a breathing practice today. Just a few breaths together, just to recognize what it is we are doing here right now in this moment. And the thing that you are doing, and the thing that I am doing, and the thing that they are doing, and he is doing, and she is doing, and all are doing that are living right now. We're all breathing. And we just need to get to that next breath and the next breath. And being really in that moment and recognizing that's where everyone is all around you right now on a fundamental level. Allow yourself to release a lot of those judgments, a lot of those fears, a lot of those ways that we create an other with one another. And just see that we are all just taking our next breath right now. Some it's the first, some it's the last, but we're all just taking the next breath in this moment. So if you are seated as I am, with your feet flat to the floor, or your legs crossed in any number of positions, just allow your shoulders to relax, gently hanging off of your spine. Relax your jaw, relax your belly. Extend your spine just enough to facilitate your breath. Gently close the eyes if you can. And let's just do 3 breaths together. Breathing in through the nose to the bottom of the belly. And release. Breathing in through the nose. And release. And again, in through the nose. And release. Feel what it is to connect with your breath. Feel the breath moving into the body and moving out. What a precious moment this could be. The tender softness of your body, just being gentle, accepting breath and releasing breath. Let everything that is your history inform you how to be gentle, how to hold a space with strength and care, how to listen a little more than you speak, how to hear people, and how to hear yourself without judgment. Let's let the last 4 years of our history teach us how to breathe with love in our hearts and kindness in our mind. Let's mourn the dead and let's care for the living. One more breath in through the nose. And hold. And when you release, just release all of the love into the world that you can. Thank you, friends, for joining today. I'm not sure I'll be around much the next 2 weeks. I'm going to be traveling to Arizona. So if you are in Arizona and you'd like to get together for some shared meditation and discussion and contemplation, go ahead and send me a message. journeyhomemeditation@gmail.com. Thanks for being here today. Adios.